Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Welcome back to Professor Jason's Lessons in Spanish, and today I'm going to try out something new that I hope you like. What I did was I went out and I got a whiteboard. This is something I use quite a bit in my regular classroom classes, and I'm going to try to present a grammar topic using the whiteboard. I think it might be more efficient than you just watching me with the subtitles and easier for me to produce. So, what I'm going to do is present a lesson on the subject pronouns, which is a topic that I've already covered. Okay, this is sort of just a test, but I hope you'll watch it and let me know if you think that the whiteboard technique is effective. So, here we go. A lesson on the subject pronouns in Spanish using the whiteboard. Okay, so just what are subject pronouns? Well, subject pronouns are those pronouns like I, you, he, she that stand in for the person that is going to carry out the action of the verb in the sentence. So for example, like I just mentioned, in English, subject pronouns would be things like I, you, he, she. We also have plural subject pronouns, okay? We. Here in the Midwest, for you, plural, we say you guys. But in the South, they might say you all, okay? And also they, right? The third person plural. Those are examples of subject pronouns in English. The Spanish equivalents then would be for I, yo. For you, it's tú. That's the informal pronoun. There's also a formal or more polite pronoun, which is usted, often abbreviated just as ud. So we have tú, informal, usted, more formal. For he, it is él, okay? Lowercase version there with the accent over the E. She, ella, okay? For we, there is a masculine form, nosotros, as well as a feminine form, nosotras, okay? For you guys, or you all, in Spanish, there is a formal and a familiar, sort of like the tú and usted distinction. So in Spain, for a familiar you all, they would say vosotros or vosotras. Okay. In Latin America, they would just use ustedes. Ustedes, that works for masculine or feminine forms. So in Spain, there's a distinction: informal, vosotros, you guys, and formal, ustedes, you guys. In Latin America, vosotros is not used. Okay. Now for they, there's also a masculine form, ellos, and a feminine form, ellas. Okay? So those are your subject pronouns in Spanish. Now, just to give you a couple of examples of how these are actually used in speech and writing. Okay? And I'll give examples just using the simple present indicative tense. If I want to say I speak Spanish, for example, it would be yo hablo español. Okay? Yo hablo español. Now, because of the verb inflections in Spanish, this pronoun here isn't really necessary. I can simply say hablo español. It becomes a little bit more necessary when we use the third person forms, because if I say habla español, we're not really sure who we're talking about out of context, right? So it's helpful to say he speaks Spanish, él habla español, ella habla español, etc. If I want to use a first person plural, we, looks something like this, right? If there's at least one man or boy in the group, it's going to be masculine. Nosotros hablamos español. Hablamos, right? Tú versus usted distinction. Tú hablas bien. You speak well. Or if I'm being more formal, more polite, usted habla bien. Okay? So the subject pronouns are simply the pronouns that come at the beginning of a sentence to indicate who does the action, who carries out the action in that sentence. All right? So I know that's review, but I hope you found it helpful, and you'll let me know if you liked the whiteboard technique. Okay? So I wait for your comments. This has been Professor Jason. Thanks for watching. Hasta luego.